forward. There you go. Good morning. I've got Dr. Carlene Starck here, who is a nutritional scientist, and she's going to talk to us all about eating for competition. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean all of the people who are going to the Olympics. It could mean that you're just going to a local gymkhana or a dressage show, or even just a practice day on your young horse, and you're feeling a bit nervous about it, right through to serious competition riders. So, Dr. Carlene, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, about me. Okay, so obviously I am a horse rider.
Yay!
Um,
So she
Yay.
understands exactly what she's talking about when she talks about going out to competitions and being nervous,
Yes,
which helps.
yes, and Kirstin is actually coaching me. So we have had numerous conversations about this in the past. So we've got a good foundation. But so I have a PhD in biochemistry. So what biochemistry is basically all of the different biochemical reactions in the body, including the things that help us to turn the food we eat into energy, as well as all of the different other processes that control how we function, how we think, how we feel. Um, Before I really got into competitive horse riding, I was a endurance mountain biker. So I was an athlete, endurance mountain biking. So I also have some background in how to fuel for performance sport. And when I transitioned from mountain biking into horse riding, I had this funny little thought in my head that it was going to be really easy and that horse riding was going to be a lot easier than mountain biking because I wasn't going to be puffing as much. Turns out it's I was so wrong. I was so wrong. And so yes, it's different, but it's a completely different mind game. It's a lot more psychological, and it turns out that the research actually shows that when you're riding, your heart rate really spikes, and you're using a lot of energy. Slightly different than endurance, but still really really important. So how we eat and how we prepare for that is going to make a huge difference to how we actually perform on the day.
Fantastic. And pretty exciting as well, because if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I never really thought about this and I get too nervous to eat when I go to shows and I don't eat anything anyway, then, there's some really good learnings here today. Cool. So
Yeah,
where should we
I
start?
used to have. Oh, where should we start? Who knows? I will just say I used to have like the night before I would go and ride bikes, so the night before a competition, I always knew how I was going to do on the day of the competition according to the days leading up. Yeah, because it would be how my emotional state was, how well I was eating, how tired I was. All of these things make a difference. So I really learned how to prepare. And I
Yeah.
think this is a thing that a lot of horse riders don't think about is I'm going to prepare my horse. I'm going to make sure my horse is eating well. I'm going to make sure it's well conditioned. I'm going to make sure it's fit. Completely neglect themselves. Get to the day. Oh my goodness, what am I going to eat? I'm just going to have to run to the coffee cart and get like some strong coffee or something. Hopefully the cart's open. Maybe cram some sugar into my face, and then I'm going to hop on and hope everything goes well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does. Sometimes you have that lucky day where your horse performs really, really well. And then other times it's windy and the sand's flying around and everything goes crazy and you just walk out of the
Disappointed.
arena and you're in tears,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that if you eat properly, those things aren't going to happen, but what you eat can change how you react in the moment to those things, which means that you're much more likely to have a positive outcome and work through the situation with your horse.
Which makes sense
Regardless.
because you think about, that expression hangry.
Yeah.
If you haven't fueled your body and you're hungry and somebody says the wrong thing to you, you turn around and snap at them. Whereas when you're
Yeah.
feeling, well, hydrated, well fed, feeling calm, when something goes wrong, you just fix it and you carry on.
Mm.
And quite often, if you go to a show the night before, you'll arrive there, you'll be unpacking, you'll just quickly scuff something for dinner and perhaps don't fuel, maybe have too many glasses of wine with all your mates the night before. So it can
Isn't
be the
that
perfect
diabetes?
storm. And then your horse stands on your toe and all hell breaks loose
Yeah.
because of all these
Yeah.
things, leading up to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, poor horses, like, they bring out the best in us and they bring out the worst in us, don't they? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But I just remember this one time I went to an event and um, I was talking to a girl, she'd come off the cross country, I think, and she was in tears because her horse had not gone very well. And I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but it turns out that all she'd had that day was I think it was a sugar-free V, or it was something that should, and this is, and I just remember thinking, I wonder, like, yes, your horse might still have stopped at the jump. Yes, she might have still got eliminated, but it's a better experience. I will also note though that I definitely am someone who finds things going wrong really, really difficult, and I know what that's like, and um, I will. It's not going to take it away. And there's still going to be times when you go to bed that night and you're like running through the situation in your head and you wish that things were different, but you are going to get a better overall outcome and you are going to feel better. So relatively speaking, we're not going to be able to change ourselves to someone who's completely impenetrable and doesn't care, but we are going to be able to make a better situation.
Yeah. And I suppose what you started out saying, that the brain affects how you think as well. And so if you're not fueling yourself, then, the mind will be less
Yeah.
obedient, because that's the whole thing. It's when we're training our horses, we're training the horses we're trying to have a systematic approach so the horse behaves, like he should. And when things go wrong, we know how to fix them because we've got that system already inbuilt. But also it's
Hopefully.
about, physically being fit and strong enough so that you can do what you need to do. And also about the psychological side of it, and that we talk to people all the time. I did a great talk with Kate, who's an animal, sorry, not an animal, a human behavioral analyst, which is all about how we think and how we train ourselves, and that sort of side of it. So it's a holistic look, isn't it? It's not just how do we ride a horse, it's how do we fuel our body, how do we create a mindset that's going to be resilient and strong and develop self-discipline, so we eat the right things, we think the right
Yeah.
things, and then we do the right things.
Yeah. Because if you think about the fact that your ability to move, your ability to function, your ability for your brain to tell your muscles what to do, all of that relies on nutrition.
Yeah,
All of
totally.
that relies on, for your brain to tell your muscles what to do, you need magnesium and calcium and sodium and chloride, right? Your electrolytes. Where do they come from? Your food.
Yeah.
So if you're not giving yourself those things, you're not going to be able to create those movements
And as you
very well.
said, this is the epitome of a horse rider. There's probably about $1,000 worth of additives in the food. They will be stood there with a vibrating, massaging rug
Yeah.
on, and you'll be just like, oh shit, there's no food in the truck. Oh, well, that's all right. I'll just eat this, muesli bar that expired, a year ago, or I'll just have a quick coffee, So
Yeah.
it is,
Or I'll just drink water and that will make me feel full.
exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
what should we
Yeah.
be eating? And when should it be?
Yeah. So I think um, when it comes to nutrition, we need to think about the big picture, right? So we can't just be thinking about, I want to go to this competition, what should I eat on the competition? We should be thinking about what should we be eating every single day, because health comes from what we do consistently.
Yeah.
So as long as we're doing things consistently, then we create this really amazing foundation for us to then, on the day of competition, make some little tweaks, do what we need to do to get through the day. There's some differences that we can talk about in terms of how to fuel yourself on the day. But leading up to that competition, if you create this situation in your body where it's got everything it needs, when it needs to do it, then you're in the best place. I will also say this, if this is important for exercise as well and for training, right? Because you've got to train your muscles to respond and utilize the nutrients that you're giving it, as well as just giving it nutrients. So they go hand in hand, but I don't think we're talking about exercise as much today, more about nutrition. So what does good nutrition look like? So I am somebody who kind of ignores the food pyramid, I will say. It's quite old-fashioned. It's similar, the way that I look at things, but I look at things in 4 buckets. So the first one is protein. So making sure we get enough protein. Protein is things like meats, eggs, dairy, fish. If you're going for the animal side of things, if you're a plant-based person or vegetarian or a vegan, then it's your nuts, your seeds, lentils, legumes, tofu, things like that. So protein is super important. It needs to be the foundation. The reason why we need protein is because A, it helps us to create muscle, build muscle. That's the thing, of course, which is going to perform the movements on your horse. But protein also provides the sort of building blocks for the neurotransmitters that your brain's going to use to make decisions, respond. It's going to control your mood, all of those things. So amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and those individual amino acids are the precursors for neurotransmitters. So when we eat protein, it gets broken down to amino acids. The amino acids go into our body. Some of them go off to make protein. A large amount goes off to make protein in the muscles and build muscles. But some of them will go into the brain and get converted over a number of steps into neurotransmitters. So if we're not eating enough protein, we can't do all of those things effectively. So that's protein. The second bucket is fiber. So I will say I don't worry about carbohydrates in my 4 buckets. Reason being, if you're focusing on fiber, then you're naturally going to be getting in enough carbohydrates. But we want to make sure we're getting in really good carbohydrates, high quality carbohydrates, and that's where the fiber comes in. Yeah. So when I say fiber, fruits and vegetables, amazing, right? Really high in fiber. They do provide us with some carbs, but we also want to be thinking about our slow release. You might have heard slow release carbohydrates or low GI carbohydrates. These are things like, I mean, everybody's different. Pasta, rice, whole grains, all of those things can support slow release energy. I am somebody that does not enjoy eating a lot of starchy carbs. I never ever have, but there are certain things that I will eat, and so I focus on them. And if I'm going to eat starchy carbs, I start my day with them. So I will wake up and have a bowl of rolled oats with protein powder and some yogurt and things like that. And that's how I know that I've created a really good foundation for my day. I don't enjoy eating them at nighttime, but that's okay because I know I've set myself up for the day. Okay. So you can choose lots of different things. If you're gluten-free, then there's lots of gluten-free options now, of course. Even things like sweet potatoes, kumara, are all really, really amazing sources of your starchy carbs. I'm pretty sure that corn.
And I see that, yes, last night on the TV that they're making potato ice cream. So I'm like, well, look at that. You could even
oh my goodness, really?
Yes, apparently.
Wow.
So what about bananas? Yeah. Bananas a good source of...
Bananas are amazing. Yeah.
Because that's quite an easy
bananas
thing to have, really... sort of like, you know, people, if you're not really into eating that much in the morning, bananas are quite easy to kind of unpack.
Bananas have had a really bad rap. You might have heard lots of stuff about bananas being high in sugar and so you shouldn't eat them. Well, yes, bananas have got sugar in them, but they've also got a lot of fiber, and that changes how the sugar is released into the body. And you've got to remember that sugar is not all bad. Yes, if you sit there and drink litres and litres of Coca-Cola every single day and flood your body with sugar, that's going to have not so great an effect. But if you're eating sugar to fuel your workouts or to fuel your rides or to fuel your body for the day, and you're doing it from whole foods, that's completely different. So we can't be scared of carbohydrates or sugar, but we choose sugar sources or carbohydrate sources that have fiber along with them. So yeah, any fruits and veggies are great. Next bucket is color. So obviously when we eat lots of fruits and vegetables, we automatically get color, but I like to focus on color because what color tells us is that the food contains these awesome little bioactive molecules. We also call them phytonutrients. So these are not nutrients that you might get in your recommendations from, say, the health authorities or anything. They're not things like calcium or magnesium. What they are is they are compounds that the plant creates that are unique to that plant, that when we ingest them, they have really awesome effects in the body. Things like reducing oxidative stress, which is oxidative stress just simply means that there's sort of too many free radicals in the body and your body can't cope with it. So they help to do that. They can have a beneficial effect on your immune system. Some of them have been shown to reduce the number of cancer cells, for example. That's not necessarily in humans, but they have all of these different amazing effects. And this is the reason why eating lots of fruits and vegetables is associated with reduced risks of chronic disease, reduced cardiovascular disease, improved longevity, all of these things. So what does that mean for riding and performance? What it means is that it helps to keep your body in a really healthy state. So you're not battling constant inflammation, not battling constant oxidative stress, that you're able to recover and repair and wake up every day with lots of energy, feeling really, really good. So that's color. So anything purple, green, orange, yellow, red, that's amazing. Egg yolks are included here,
Wow.
I will say.
I
Yeah.
watched a podcast the other day which was talking about the microbiomes in your gut and how to keep a really healthy gut is by eating 30 different types of fruit and vegetables and eat the rainbow. And I was like, it made me really stop and think about, okay, we eat a lot of broccoli, we eat a lot of bananas and gold fruit, but then you go, wow, we actually don't eat many purple, and purple's meant to be really good for you. And
Mm.
that's the when you sit down and actually count up how many different vegetables and different colors, sometimes you end up eating not a very big variety. So that's a good reminder.
Super easy to get into our routine, isn't it? Like you
Yeah,
just go for your normal things. But I mean, I don't think that study where they found 30 was really, really good. Keep in mind that they didn't test 10 or 15 or 20 or 25,
yeah,
right? Like 30 was the number. So we don't know exactly. You don't feel like if you're not getting 30 different plants, then you're going to have an unhealthy microbiome. The key, though, as you said, is variety,
right.
is making sure we get as many different ones and stepping outside of our little apple box, which is me. I love apples and I eat so many apples, and I have to make sure I have to force myself on the same to eat different
Yeah.
different varieties. But that includes things like nuts, right? Nuts are a plant.
Hmm.
Nuts
Good, that.
contain fiber. Yeah, nuts contain phytonutrients. All plants do.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Fourth bucket is healthy fat.
Yeah.
So some of these healthy fats can sit in other buckets, like avocado. Avocado is amazing. Healthy fat, fiber, color. Tick. Really, really awesome source of nutrition. Healthy fats are also nuts. They've got fiber, they've got phytonutrients, they've got healthy fats. So all of those kind of fats, as well as things like your olive oil and things like that. So, but just getting in enough healthy fats. So you might have heard, or lots of horse people probably will feed oil to their horse or fat to their horse as a source of cool energy.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because it's metabolized via a slightly different, well, similar pathway, but it's metabolized more slowly than carbohydrate, which means that you have a slower energy release. And that's important for us when we're going into like every day but competition, because we need to make sure we have consistent, steady energy supply. We don't want peaks and troughs. We don't want to be having these massive sugar spikes and then we're flatlining. It's like, I'm going to load myself with sugar and then I'm going to go out and do my cross country, and then I do my cross country and then I come out from the cross country and I'm exhausted and I've still got my show jumping to go and I just can't do it. And so then I'm just hanging on around the course.
Yeah.
Like we need that consistent energy supply. So
So
yeah, so those are the four
four
buckets. So
buckets.
setting your stuff up every day, making sure you're getting those in. We can talk about specific amounts, but everyone's different. The most important one with protein is I would always focus for around 1.6 grams per kilogram per day. So if you weigh, let's say, I'll do something easy. If you weigh sort of, let's say 60 kilograms, what's that? That's 78. Is that 78? No, 6. I'm going to use my calculator.
Because my maths is terrible, so I can't help you on that.
I'm just good. Oh no, 96. Great. Okay, so if you weighed 60 kilograms, 1.6 grams per kilogram per day is 96 grams of protein
Per
per
day.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that looks like 30 grams per meal ish.
Yeah.
So you can start to look at that, which is a piece of, so 100 grams of chicken has got about 25 grams. So that's a good indicator.
And I suppose the thing I would say having a 15-year-old daughter who reaches for the shelf and goes, oh, good, look at these bars. It looks like a chocolate bar. And it goes, it's got extra fiber in it. Oh, look at this. This has got so much protein in it. And I'm like, try to eat good quality things. Buying a chocolate bar that's got added fiber in it is just rubbish. It's just absolutely, it's brainwashing yourself to make you feel like you're doing good. So, and protein, there's the buzzword of the moment, isn't it? Everything's all about protein this and protein that. You can have a
Yeah.
coffee that's got protein in it, but trying to actually, as you say, grab a handful of nuts or, eat something that's actually got a good source of goodness in it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, using supplemental protein can be really, really beneficial, but I would be reaching more towards your protein powders,
Yeah.
your really good quality protein powders, rather than your protein bars. Don't get me wrong, I love a really nice protein bar. It's sort of my guilty pleasure, but I'm not going to rely on it as a source of protein. There's actually some research that came out that looked at the protein quality in different protein bars, and it's not actually as high as what you think. Protein quality just means how well is a protein source providing your body with the individual amino acids that the body needs. So
Damn.
um, we can go more into that if you want. Yeah, but as a if
Supplement,
you're
then
going
that's
to yeah,
okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if you're sitting there and you're making a decision like, should I eat a Moro bar or should I eat a protein bar? The protein bar is going to be a better option than the Moro bar,
Yeah.
right? So it's all context.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, don't. It's not a eating a protein bar as your source of protein is not going to be anywhere near as good as, like you say, eating a good amount of nuts or some chicken or some eggs or
Yeah.
dairy.
And I suppose something in there as well is hydration, because from somebody who's had four broken collarbones, and when you fall off and they try to find a vein, they go, "Oh, you're very dehydrated," and you're like, "Yeah, I've ridden three cross countries and I've drunk like a thimble of water all day," and
Yeah,
it's just the way I was. I'm so obsessed with drinking enough water now, but. One of those things is you would never deprive your horse of not drinking water before a competition, and you expect yourself to ride because for me, it's the inconvenience. Oh, I don't want to have to go for a wee when I'm about to do
I
my
know.
cross
Yeah,
country, How bonkers is that?
I know. Isn't it funny? Yeah, and it's for me. It's also I'm like I don't want to get my jobbers dirty with my hands.
Yes.
Taking my jobbers up to go to the store, which is so silly. Um, anyway, but speaking of hydration, this is where electrolytes come in.
Yeah.
So there's a do you need electrolytes or not? So is water enough for hydration? Um, if you are an active person, if you're out there all the time, often you can be sweating without not knowing that you're sweating. But I would recommend, yes, getting a good electrolyte supplement or electrolyte, like you can get the fizzy electrolytes.
Yeah.
And I actually take an electrolyte supplement every single morning and I find huge benefits. And then I would use them at competition and I would put it in my water bottle. Now, choose an electrolyte supplement that's not full of sugar because obviously on a competition day that might have a benefit, sure, but every single day all it's going to be doing is putting extra sugar and extra calories into your body that you're not necessarily going to be using. So you can get some really, really awesome sort of fizzy tabs of electrolytes. There's a company called SiS. I think it's Science and Sport, and they make really, really good fizzy tabs. And you just sort of chuck one of those in your water bottle and go. The other thing you can do is put a little bit, like quarter of a teaspoon of salt in your water bottle, which is a very cheap, easy version. I just squeeze some lemon juice and some salt in my water bottle, and that actually is a really, really effective way as well. I love fizzy tabs, so
Yeah. And so here's
don't tend to go with
going to
it.
put you on the spot. So there's so much controversy. Sugar, like processed sugar, is rubbish. We all know that is, white death. But also you've got artificial sweeteners, which are really bad for you. So those tabs, do they have real sugar or do they go for an artificial sweetener in there?
So this might surprise you, but I do not believe, based on all of the science, all of the data that we have, that artificial sweeteners are really bad for you.
Is that right?
That
Oh,
is right. So
I always harass my husband because I always have a proper Coke. I'm having the real Coke because I don't want to have artificial sweetener, and he always goes for the Coke Zero, and I always say to him,
yeah. So
"I'm
so
not."
um, there's a lot of we could get into the weeds here, but basically there's two types of research, right?
Yeah,
There's observational research and there is interventional research, or maybe we could say controlled research. An observational research says, I'm going to look at these people and I'm going to observe what they're doing and I'm going to take measurements based on what they're doing. A lot of the studies that look at the relationship between artificial sweeteners and health are observational. So we're gonna follow these people over many, many years, and we're going to say how many of those people get, say, type 2 diabetes, and of those people that got type 2 diabetes, how many are consuming artificial sweeteners. Now, I'm simplifying things a lot because the studies are done with a lot more control and stringency than what I'm making out. But of course, in those people that are developing type 2 diabetes, there could be multiple reasons why they're having a drink with artificial sweeteners. Are they getting type 2 diabetes because they had that drink, or are they drinking the drink because they've got type 2 diabetes and now they're trying to reduce their sugar intake? Right. So there's all of those little relationships. That's something called reverse causality. It's got a name. If we think about interventional or controlled research, what we're doing is we're taking two people and we're controlling their diet. We're controlling everything that they eat, or two people. You've probably got 100 people, two groups, but we're controlling what they eat. So we're saying the only thing that's going to be different in these two groups is the artificial sweeteners, and then we're going to monitor effects of those artificial sweeteners. So you've got a lot more idea. Now, of course, even in those people that we're controlling, this is not a real life situation. So we don't have any kind of perfect in between. We're limited to what we've got. But the majority of the research where we do have control, where we are measuring things, if we pull it all together, there's no solid evidence that artificial sweeteners are going to kill you or are going to make you develop type 2 diabetes. I think, though, what people can do is they can say, okay, well, Coke Zero, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just going to drink heaps of Coke Zero. That's not an ideal situation either, right? Because we need to be making sure we're getting in enough nutrition and we're getting in enough of our actual food, and we still want to have enough water. But if you look at studies where they're taking people and they're saying, right, we're going to stop drinking real Coke and we're going to start drinking Coke Zero instead, you get massive decreases in body weight, waist circumference, benefits that are in some cases better than what you'd get with water. So it can be a really good way to sort of switch people off the full sugar. And I would also say, though, for you, if you're somebody that likes to have a full sugar Coke every now and again, there's nothing wrong with that.
And it's not like I drink a lot of Coke. It's just every now and then I'm like, oh, I'm not like a Coke. Now I won't be able to feel righteous. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, feel you're okay. But yes, I would. There's nothing wrong. Obviously, I prefer the taste of something like stevia, or there's a sweetener, so the more natural sweeteners. There's one that starts with T. I don't know how to say it properly. It's either thomatin or thalmatin or something like that. I've never figured out how to say it properly, but that one is also natural, and that's fine as well. But I prefer the taste of those.
So if you look at your hydration little fizzy tablets, they are quality compared to what I used to drink at shows, which was Powerade and a bottle. That's probably just full of sugar and rubbish. That was me greenwashing that, oh, this is going to help fuel me for the day. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's not going to have the right ratio. So if you get proper electrolyte tabs, they've probably got a bit of stevia in them to make them, because honestly, if you were to drink straight electrolytes, you would not be drinking them. They are very salty and they taste horrible. Yeah. So, but they've got the right ratio. So they've pulled everything together. So it's actually giving your body what it needs. Whereas Powerade is pretty much just sodium with a little bit of potassium in it. It's not actually being developed to support. Even if it says Powerade Sport on it, that doesn't mean it's great. Right? Okay. Yeah, it's all marketing.
So we'll put in the description of this video some of the links, so that you can go, oh, okay, I'm going to go to do you get that online or from the chemist, and then those tabs?
Yeah. Sports Fuel is a great place. You can buy stuff online, but honestly, I'm pretty sure Chemist Warehouse is everything now.
Cool. It's the problem, isn't it, though? You read something like you just said, Powerade Sports, and you go, oh, well, obviously when I'm playing sports, that'll be a good one. So you just grab it and then realize that actually it's just rubbish.
Yes. Remember that companies put things on their packets to make you buy them.
Yes.
Not necessarily that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, okay, so overall nutrition. So should we jump to on the day?
Yeah. And so one thing is that I get lots of students and parents actually saying to me is that, oh, they just can't eat, in the morning before they actually go and compete. And I
Yeah.
have been saying my experience, which was I wouldn't eat. And so I started with jet planes. And then I progressed. I got used to sort of eating something and chewing it. And then I was like, actually, that's okay. Then mum used to have a line out the back of my horse truck with a pancake because she used to cook pancakes and everyone used to line up, grab a pancake and bugger off. But that got me into the habit of eating.
Yeah.
And then literally when I had a stream of 4 or 6 horses, I would be in the truck cooking French toast, scoffing it in between cross-country rides, thinking, oh, I don't want to get halfway around and be hungry. So,
Yeah.
now you're going to have some proper education from Carlene because she can go, right, this is what you need to do.
Well, I mean, Kirsten, it obviously worked
Yeah,
for
it
you,
worked for
right? It's not
me.
like,
But sometimes
yeah,
you get so nervous, your mouth is dry, and so you're like, the thought of
yeah,
chewing something is, you just like, I just can't. So then I was like, just grab something that you feel like you can kind of stomach. And it is habit sometimes as well. It's the whole
yeah,
psychology. It's the story you sell yourself. You wake up and you go, "Oh, I'm far too nervous to eat," and I'm like, "Well, I'm far too nervous to eat, but if I don't eat, I'm going to ride like a bag of crap. So I'm going to actually eat now, so that then later on, when I need it, I've got some fuel."
yeah. So, I mean, I think everybody's different. So there is going to have to be some playing around to figure out what's going to work for you on the day. But we can provide some sort of general recommendations. The first one is if you have created this diet and this consistency for yourself leading up to the day and providing your body with everything it needs, then on the day, any kind of inconsistencies are not going to be as worrisome, right? So you're going into the day, you're properly fueled, all your glycogen stores, which is all your energy stores in your body, they're all topped up. I'm good to go. My mindset's in a good place because I'm properly looking after my mood and my neurotransmitters. I'm in a great place. On the day I wake up, I don't feel like eating. I would strongly encourage people to, if they can, figure out a way to get breakfast in. Because that's really that's sort of your kickstart to the body, right? I mean, again, relate it back to the horse. You bring your horse in, it's super nervous, doesn't want to eat. I'm worried. I'm like, can you just eat the freaking food? Because A, it cost me $50, and
Yeah,
B,
yeah,
it's you're not going to get your supplements that you need, etc., etc. So we do things for our horse, don't we? We say, right, I'm going to make you up your feed. I'm going to put some extra little lollies in it to make you want to eat it, and I'm going to drench your supplements in because I know you're not going to eat them if I put them in there. So
yeah,
we take these extra steps for our horse, so we need to take the extra steps for ourselves as well. So if you can have breakfast, that would be really important. What I do, I'm very lucky, is that usually my husband drives me to a show. So I sort of make my breakfast, and then because he's driving, I've just got that time to kind of go and chill out.
yeah,
And so that's when I'll eat my breakfast. I'll get the horse ready, we'll get it on the float, and then we'll go. And I'll sort of, after sort of 10, 15 minutes, I'm okay. But not everybody can do that. Some people maybe take a smoothie
yeah,
is a really good way to do it. And then you can just sip it. That's a really good option too if you're driving yourself. You can just have a smoothie and you can drink it on the way. Make sure you keep both hands on the wheel, obviously, at all times. Or you can do something in the morning, or you can do something when you get there. But that would be, if there was anything that I would say, that would be a really good idea to get into the habit of getting yourself into, to make sure that you're getting nutrition and having some breakfast to be good, because that's sort of setting the body up, and it's going to calm that adrenaline. When you wake up, cortisol, which is, people talk about it as your stress hormone. So it is a stress hormone, but it's not really bad. It's actually quite a good hormone because it wakes us up, it gets us going. It peaks in the morning. But if you sort of don't eat and then you have heaps of coffee and then you are also stressed, it's just going to be even more elevated. And that's going to create not a very good situation. So, as you said, Kirstin, a banana is a great option. Um, Even a banana, something that I do before I go out every morning and feed the horses and mark out paddocks, because I'm out there for a couple of hours, is I actually have like a mixture of banana and protein powder, and I sort of whiz that up and mix that up, and I just down that, and I find that really, really good. So that's an option. Go for what you can get in. Make sure you've got carbohydrates. Make sure you've got protein. are your two big things. But then once you're on the day, if your body's got what it needs, you don't need to be panicking about eating something before you go out to ride. So, you've had breakfast, maybe you're riding dressage at 10 and you have breakfast at sort of 7. Your body's going to have everything it needs in there to perform. So you don't need to stress about trying to get food in before that. Where the where the sort of caveat is some people, maybe the act of having something before they ride is like the psychological tick that they've got everything they need.
Yeah.
So in that case, you might, even if you had a couple of jet planes, maybe that's a good option. Having sugar is probably not the best option because you don't want to create a sugar spike and then that sugar low. But if that's what you need, if it's going to get you through and if it's sort of a stepping stone to something better, then it's probably a decent option. I would sort of lean more maybe towards even a couple of pieces of chocolate is probably quite a good option because it's not necessarily going to be like good chocolate, dark chocolate. You're going to get a little kick. Yeah. It's really high in those phytonutrients that we were talking about. Yeah. So something like that would be good. But then sort of, if you've got multiple rides during a day, you do want to make sure that you do continue to get nutrition in during the day. And go for your sort of, don't eat massive meals because that's going to slow you down and make you feel crappy. So smaller meals, smaller snacks, again, focusing on that really good sort of low GI carbs and some protein. So if all you can take in is maybe nuts and raisins. Raisins they've got sugar, but when you eat them with the nuts, it'll slow down the absorption or the release of the sugar.
And they're so nuts. Easy to just run into the truck, grab a handful of nuts, and then, away you go. It's something that's super easy.
Yeah. Although, Kirstin, I'm thinking that you could probably set up a business, another little side business for yourself that shows making pancakes.
It would have to be my mum. My mum was
protein pancake.
Yeah. Oh, that's an idea. Protein pancakes. Yes.
Yeah.
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 That'd be awesome.
I'll have to tell that to my mum. I'll be like, Mum, guess what? I've got a business opportunity.
Yeah.
Mandy,
a little trailer.
She can go. Mandy Kelly's pancakes. They help Kirstin get round. Bless her.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I think
that's a really good thought because it's like, it's like thinking to yourself, oh, I haven't trained my horse all week, but the day before I'm going to quickly train it to do all the dressage movements.
Yeah.
It just isn't going to work. And so
it's not going to
get up in the morning and go, today I'm at a competition, so I'm gonna be really well hydrated and I'm gonna eat the right foods. Just you saying it's all about your stores. You're like, well, that's not going to help. So unfortunately, it comes down to the old adage, which is all about self-discipline, isn't it? The more you flex it, the stronger it gets. If you eat, what I always try to tell Lexi is that fuel your body during the week, and on the weekend you can have little treats and have a little bit of enjoyment and eat some naughty stuff. But if you try to eat all, during the week, Monday to Friday, all of the good quality food, you're feeding and fueling your body and you're building up all those good stores that you need.
Yeah. And actually, the more you fill your body with good food, the less likely you are to have cravings and want to eat other stuff anyway, right? Because you're going to be giving your body all of those nutrients that it needs. So it's a win-win, but it's so true, isn't it? It's like you're not going to have your horse sitting in the paddock and then the day before the competition go, right, we're going. I have done that once actually. But he was a schoolmaster.
And I hear people all the time rock up to shows and sit on their horse and turn to me stupidly and say, he's never done cross country before. This will be interesting. And I'm like, well, you're an ass. Who would ask a horse that trusts you to go out and you'll break his trust by showing him a whole lot of new stuff that you've never introduced beforehand? It's like, hello, that's just dumb. Actually, it's not funny. It's just dumb. I can't deal with that.
No, I mean, I think if we think things back to our horse and relate it back to what we do, it makes it really easy and puts it into context for us really, really well. And I think we haven't talked about it, but the exercise component is also very, very important.
Yeah.
Making sure that we make sure that our horse is fit enough for the job, that it's got everything that it needs. Like you say, we're not going to go out and overface it at a competition.
Yeah.
If we're wanting to compete at, let's say training level 95, whatever, then we need to be training higher than that, so that when we go out to 95, we're not, we're confident and we're ready and then we're prepared. So it's the same with ourselves. You want to make sure that you've got all of the fitness and the strength to be able to go out and ride around that course.
Yeah.
You can do it without it, but you're going to have a much better chance
Yeah.
of
And
actually achieving.
I think back to when I rode at Puanui around the 4 star, and I came out of the show jumping and I jumped a clear round, and they stuck a microphone in my face to say, how was that? And honestly, I had a dry mouth. I could hardly speak. I was puffing, and I was riding a team of, a lot of horses every day, 13 horses every single day. So I was like at the peak of my career, super fit, and I could barely speak because I was puffing that hard. And you think about that as an elite athlete, and then you think to yourself, oh my gosh, when I go to do my 65 centimeter show jumping round and I come out and I'm gasping for breath, and you know, you just think to yourself, are you giving yourself the best opportunity to ride well? Because as a professional, if I come out and I'm puffing, hello, you need to be fit. You need to fuel your body. It just makes your life so much easier. Because it is, as you
Yeah.
said, you thought horse riding would be, oh, that'll be easy. You just sit on the horse. But when you get nervous, when you get, anxious because you're under pressure, the horse misbehaves, it actually is physically and mentally very hard work and challenging.
Mm. It is, because you're not just dealing, you don't just have control, you don't just have to think about yourself and
Yeah.
controlling yourself. This is not just about you, this is about the horse as well, and being able to respond in the moment. And even the best horse in the world can have an off day. So how are you going to respond to that? And like, it's funny you say about coming out of the show jumping puffing. It's amazing, eh? It's like
Yeah.
you go in and then you come out and you're like, was I even breathing that whole time? I can't even remember breathing.
Yeah.
But that's where, like doing specific exercises targeted towards the type of activity we're doing is really important, because you're never going to get that kind of intensity as you will do at a competition at home. It's just not going to
No,
happen. The only way
no.
to get that intensity is at a competition. So A, go to lots of little competitions, but B, train that intensity in the gym. Like, this is your high intensity interval training, but even better, your sprint interval
Yeah.
training. So that's doing like, 30 seconds of really just as hard as you possibly can, to the point where you're puffing really, really hard, but then making sure you recover enough to try and simulate what you have in a show jumping round. The show jumping round might be, I don't know, 60 seconds or something.
45. When you think about it,
45.
45 seconds, but it has a real intensity.
Yeah.
So,
So you want to make sure that you're onto it for those 45 seconds, and that your body is able to really effectively use energy in that 45 seconds. And the only way to get that is by training for it.
yeah, yeah.
So it's, which is a whole nother conversation. but
Well,
but yeah,
it goes,
I think
it
the
goes
key
hand in
is
glove, doesn't it? It's like you can't just think, oh, I'm going to change my diet and everything will be fine. You go, actually, you really need to start thinking about your diet and making sure that you're ticking these boxes and getting that sorted. But you then go, okay, well, at the same time, I'm going to start including some different, um, exercises, some intense 45-second ones where I go to the gym and I put the Stairmaster on and I put it at a speed of 27, and people probably look at me like I'm a crazy person.
I
And
don't even know what that means.
I sprint on 45 seconds up the stairs until I want to die, and then I stop, and then I just stand there and recover, and I
Yeah.
do that 3 times. But that's the sort of intensity that you get at a competition. But you
Yeah.
also then need to understand that your cross country might be 4 minutes, but it might be 10
Yeah.
minutes. So you
Hmm.
actually need to also have that another thing where you will run on the treadmill or you'll get on your bike, and it will be a consistent slog, but not
Yes.
at that
Yeah.
same intensity.
Yeah, this is where I think bike riding is really good, especially if you can, I don't know, like a spin class or something,
Yeah.
because you've got that like in a good spin class, you'll have moments of like I'm going hard for sort of 40 seconds and then I'm going to recover, and then I'm going hard for 40 seconds and then I'm going to recover. And so it's using the same muscles, your legs,
Yeah.
right? Where you'll be in sort of 2 point or whatever. And you've got those moments of here's a combination, I need to focus, it's all going to be boom, 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 on. And then my gallop in between, I can sort of, like I'm still moving, I'm still working, but I can recover. So it's a really good way to work on that sort of fitness.
It's one of those things every Wednesday morning I think, oh, I'm going to go to my spin class. Then when I finish it, I'm on an absolute high all day. It's like the endorphins, and I'm like, yeah. But when I'm in it, I think, where he goes, what? He's on his bike and he's, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I think, oh, I hate you, actually. It's like, but as you say, it mimics riding so well
Yeah,
because you'll do a slow hill climb where it's just methodical and annoying. But then there'll be a sprint, and so it has that real variety, exactly the same as if you're riding cross country or a really dodgy dressage test.
yeah. Flying. Yeah, I love spin, but that's probably because I spent so long like as an actual cyclist
Yeah.
that now like I hop on a bike and I just feel like, oh, I'm at home, and then I love just going super hard. But yeah, it's never comfortable though. No matter how fit you get,
Yeah.
it's never comfortable. You've always got to be pushing into that state of discomfort where you're puffing. Like even for the very, very, very fit people, don't be thinking that they find it easy. No way. They just push themselves to the point, to harder, to that point where they're just like really, really puffing. So there is no way that you can get fitter or make improvement or get better at anything without it being hard.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You don't get any kind of adaptation without stress. So
Yeah.
um, I
Well,
hate, yeah, it's
yeah.
like the harsh
Well,
truth.
the thing is that, to make gains, you need to make sacrifices and you have to endure a little bit of discomfort. And that's the question. You always have to say to yourself, am I prepared to put in a bit of discomfort to actually get better? And that's the
Yeah,
beauty. I would say that if you could jump in somebody's body who's fit and strong and well nourished and then ride across country, you would be like, that is worth the discomfort each week to get to that point. But it is
yeah.
sometimes hard. We live very busy lives nowadays, and making good, healthy decisions about what we eat and making sure that we fit in time and make it important to actually go and do some exercise is discomfort.
Mm,
I don't get
it
up in the
is.
morning and go, yeah, I can't wait to go and do a workout because I don't have horses anymore. I'm not doing the exercise. So for me, I have to go and do some form of exercise.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things. It's not something that you at that moment in time you go, yeah, I can't wait to go and do my thrashing. But when you are afterwards, you think to yourself, well, at least I'm keeping myself fit and strong.
Make it sound so inviting with
Sometimes it's
thrashing.
not. And the
Yeah,
thing
it's
is
not. Yeah.
that I think people do it once. They watch something like this and they go, right, I'm gonna give myself the best opportunity to make this season really good. And then they go, I'm gonna eat right. And then they go to the supermarket and they go and buy all these things. And then they go to the gym once and then they go, oh, that was hideous. I hated that.
Yeah.
And then they just think, oh, nah, it's just too hard. Whereas I think you've just got to keep digging in there, knowing
Do
that,
it for a month. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's consistency is everything, and you have to it has to become a habit, and it's not going to become a habit after a day or 2 days or a week or 2 weeks. I think it's 28 or 29 days where you need to do something, but you don't have to go to the gym, especially if you're riding as well. This doesn't have to be an everyday thing,
no, no,
right? 10-20 minutes twice a week, if that's done really, really effectively, can be an absolute game changer. You do have to eat well every single day. I will
yes.
say that, but
But I
yeah,
think when you make a mental, like a conscious shift in thought where you say to yourself, I actually want to look after myself so that as well as I look after my horse, I want to look after myself, then I think
Yeah.
everything comes together and you start thinking about, oh, like I look at the chocolate biscuits on the shelf and I think, oh, I'd love a chocolate biscuit. But I know if I eat one, I'll eat four. So I just think, okay, I'm just not going to. And then when you start doing that more, you start going, I feel really good that I made
Mm,
a decision that was actually good, healthier. And so therefore then it helps build that little bit of momentum that makes you start making more healthy changes.
yeah. Unfortunately, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's the unfortunate thing, right? There has to be, like you say, some sacrifice. But the biggest thing that I think like that changed things for me was we don't when I left mountain biking and I went to horse riding, I stopped thinking about myself as an athlete. So I
Yeah.
had this big period where I stopped looking after myself. And we need to change that. We need to flip that because we are athletes.
Yeah.
You're hopping on something that weighs like at least half a ton.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a huge amount of force. You have to control that. Yes, it's not the same. Excuse me, it's not the same as running a marathon. It's a special, very specific, dedicated, targeted form of competition. Your muscles have to fire in a specific way. And so those people that are competing at very high levels, they are training, they are eating, they are, undergoing specific programs to enable them to do that. And it's no different if you're competing at lower levels. If you want to do well, you have
Well,
to think about
actually,
yourself as an
I
athlete.
would I would say that it's actually more important because when you're a professional rider, you have had thousands of hours in the saddle, so your instincts are very, very good, and your confidence and your trust in your own ability is very good. When you are an amateur rider and you've got one horse, I think it's harder for you because you don't have the same skills. You can't get away with things, so you need to have everything stacked up in your favor to help you. So,
Yeah,
it is super, super important. Nutrition,
yeah,
fitness, strength, and mindset all come together as well as, learning how to ride the horse.
yeah. And it's much, I mean, again, though, we have to go back to that. It's not going to mean that everything goes right because you're riding a horse
Yeah,
and horses have a mind of their own.
exactly.
But
But then I would say that then the counter to that is remember that even when things go wrong, that you learn from that. And so then the next time that that same problem arises with your horse, you'll go, oh, I remember what happened last time. And then I either fixed it or I actually asked my coach, hey, this is what happened. Can we work through some solutions? So then you grow from it. And so that's what
yeah,
builds you into a better rider. And so, yes,
yeah,
on the day, you can have a little whinge and cry and go, oh God, that was a disaster. But then you regroup, you come back stronger, and then you learn from it and you become better. So,
mm.
you always got to look at the big
Just
picture.
mention, yeah, just in terms of the learning. So we have neurotransmitter pathways and special neurotransmitters that when they're working properly, make it more likely that we're going to take something positive out of a situation and learn something positive from it, versus ruminate on it and go round and round in circles.
Wow.
Right? So yeah. So when we look after those things properly, we're much more likely to actually take it, learn and create a beneficial situation.
Well, there you
So
go.
it all works together. Like it's not just chance.
No.
Can I just mention a couple of additional supplements?
Yeah.
So, um, I mean, potentially more as we get older. So, but it can apply at any age. But things that I've really found sort of work for me every single day, but also how I deal with anxiety, stress, all of that. So, one, Kirstin's heard me talk about this a lot, but creatine.
Yeah.
So, I use creatine every single day. Um, it's not something you can just take once and have an effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you need to sort of take it every single day, but it will build up in your body. And it's really, really awesome for more like very, very high intensity activity, those short bursts. So it's going to be really great for show jumping. It's going to be really great for cross country, but it helps the muscles to sort of fire and work more effectively because it's providing um, the energy that your body can use straight away. And so the more that you take it every single day, those stores will build up in your body and you'll be able to use it. It's also very good for cognitive function, so decision making, rapid decision making,
And the
anything in your body that you
the latest studies on that is really exciting. So,
they are really
is it?
exciting.
Yeah, so that's something that I definitely take every day as well as I can vouch for that. I can second that.
Yeah. And I would, we've also had these conversations. I would use like just get a creatine powder, so creatine monohydrate powder, as opposed to the gummies. There's been a few studies on gummies showing that they don't actually contain the amounts that they say they contain. So I'm sure that's not the case for every single gummy, but use the powder, put it in your smoothie, something like that. It's really good. The other things that I would really think a lot about is magnesium. So magnesium as a supplement, we don't get enough in our food. And it's very, very important. Yes, you feed it to your horse to help. Most people feed it as a calmer, but actually it's really important for muscle function and muscle recovery. So that's why putting Epsom salts, like Epsom salt baths and everything like that, on the horse works, because it's magnesium. So it really, really helps with sort of with recovery of the muscle and muscle function. So taking magnesium is great
I rub it on
as
my
well.
back every night before I go to bed. It's in a oil base or something like that. Is that
Yeah.
pretty much the same as taking an actual, yeah.
Yeah, it can and definitely work. I mean, I think if I don't know much about the topical applications, but I think that will be more targeted. Whereas when you take it, it's potentially going to go to more places in the body. So I think sort of different strokes, and there's different forms of magnesium that have different benefits in different areas as well. Just cheap magnesium oxide
Yeah.
is going to go straight through you. You're just going to pull it out. So stay
Right.
away from mag oxide.
Right. Okay.
Unless you have IBS, in which case it can actually be beneficial. But if you're using it for performance, then yeah,
Fabulous.
yeah, and there's probably lots more, but I think those are the main ones.
Yeah. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Carlene. That's been really helpful and gives everybody some food for thought.
A little bit
It just really helps you
with
just think
honey.
about the whole picture rather than just I've got to train my horse to jump over these jumps or go on the butt. It's actually about the whole picture and trying to do the best you can.
Mm. Yeah, remember we've got the job as well, right?
Yeah,
The
totally.
horse isn't going to jump the jumps itself.
Right. Contrary to belief, when other people just go, oh, you can sit on it. Yes,
Yeah,
we
do you want to go then?
yeah, we just sit on it and look pretty.
Yeah, yeah,
Excellent.
look how easy it is.
Indeed, indeed. Fabulous. Thank you so much. And thanks for joining in, everybody. And we'll see you later. See you.
Bye.
Bye.